Hero time starts now.
Check. There we go. Right out the gate, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta love it. But nonetheless, hello everyone, I'm the Shades, and welcome again to a live edition of Shades' Soapbox. So yes, for those of you who've been missing me, I am back. I am home from a trip that I've been on this entire week. And good God, am I exhausted. I'm amazed I'm even awake enough to even do this stream here tonight. But I'm here. I'm home. And oh, good Lord. We've got a lot to talk about here tonight, because it is time to discuss what I've been up to over the last week or so. Because as most of you know, our topic for tonight is where I've been. And that is, of course, Metrocon 2019 in Tampa, Florida. Yes, I have been busy dealing with the con and just having a blast. I've talked with several of you guys in the voice chats for the first couple of days. I didn't get a chance to do it the last 2 days because, quite frankly, I had so much going on that I was so exhausted, and it was so late. There was no way I could honestly do a voice call. Like, literally, I think Friday nights I was up pretty late. I got home pretty late. Saturday especially, I was up until like 3:30 in the morning. Like, Saturday I was up till 3:30 in the morning because I had gotten out of Metro Night Live, which ended at 1. And then, of course, by then it was already too late for you guys. I'm sure some of you were up, but still, it was too late for me to do a voice chat. And I had hung out with some friends poolside after the night to kind of unwind. Sunday night, of course, very much couldn't have done it because I was at the after party, or what we call the Dead Dog Party, which is the staff's unwinding period after the con is over, our chance to mingle and have fun and not have to work, because when you're at the con, you're too busy actually doing what you're supposed to be doing at the con to be able to just really chat much. So the after parties are a chance to just basically have fun for a little while. But all of it is done. I'm here, and I am in very high spirits after this weekend. I've got a lot to go over, so we're going to go ahead and get this started. Now, I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room, because there was one thing I had brought up that I had a very big concern about going into Metrocon. The big thing was there was a massive change that that we had heard about a couple of months prior that a lot of us were worried about. The Tampa Convention Center, the location of Metrocon, had instituted a new policy for Metrocon involving bag checks. Basically, you were only allowed to enter the convention center at specific entry points. You couldn't just go through the multitude of doors that are sitting right there. You had to go all the way to the far end where they had a line set up for bag checks. Now, when we first heard about this, we did not know how they were going to implement this. We didn't know how severe this was going to be. We were getting thoughts of metal detectors, or at the very least the wands thing, and deep bag checks. But I can honestly say they handled this a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. There were usually around 3 entry points. You could go through the main front doors at the bottom, you could go through the back entrance at the stairs, downstairs, and then up those stairs there was the main entryway that most of us were using, that took you into the side entrance of that multitude of doors. And that was where the majority of the attendees were going to, was that side entrance. And they knew this because they had set up a queue line. They had roped off a queue line, and they had like 5 tables set up with TCC security at each table, almost 2 tables sometimes, for bag checks. But the good news is they weren't doing very deep bag checks. It was more security theater than it was actually checking for anything. Shut up, phone. So we really just had to, go up. They would just like, okay, you're good, and send us on through. And because of this, aside from maybe when they first opened the doors and everyone was getting in, everyone was waiting in line for registration, there was never a wait for bag checks throughout the day. Once they got through the initial registration, the original opening area time, which didn't even take that long, it just was impossible for you not to get in, and you almost never had to wait. You just walked right on through. You got through the queue, like you just walked around the queue. You got through them instantly. You immediately had a table open up for you, and you were in and out in less than 10-15 seconds. Like, honestly, it was a lot smoother than any of us anticipated it being. So thankfully that did not hinder the con at all. In fact, from what we've heard, actually, the fear was that this was going to drop the attendance numbers, but in actuality, from what I've heard from the staff, the numbers were actually up from the last year. So that is good. Attendance numbers went up. This was a success. It was not a problem. I'm very happy about that. But that was the big elephant in the room that I had to address before we moved on to the actual convention itself. And the feeling of this year, that was the general feeling of the con, as someone who knows the staff and knows how things are normally handled, is that this was a very different Metrocon this year. It didn't look like it. Like, on the outside, it felt like the same old Metrocon, but internally, it was very different, and for one specific reason. And I'm not going to go into details on this, because there's a lot of stuff that you don't need to know about on this, but the bottom line is that one of the original co-owners of Metrocon, Nick Fazio, stepped down. He left. He's gone. He's no longer a part of the convention. This was something that had been building up for years. I mean, I've talked with Nick Fazio for quite a while now, and he's been in talks about leaving the con. And so this was not like a spur of the moment, oh my God, something has gone wrong and he's just gone thing. No, this was something he'd already been planning for years on end. But he had to make sure that they had to make sure that all the work that he did was passed on to the right people, and that the transition was smooth. And in all honesty, not only was it smooth, but I think it was honestly for the best. It was a lot more of a relaxed con. All the cast and staff were having a lot more fun. It was a lot of changes that happened that maybe you wouldn't have noticed at first, but I think it really was for the better. And this is not me hating on Nick. I think Nick's a great guy. And I think the fact that he made sure that everything was transitioned smoothly was the right thing to do, because it paid off in spades. And you'll see as we go into this, especially in certain aspects that he was deeply involved in, you will see how much has changed, and pretty much all of it for the better. Now, the other big problem that I had was a recent change that I'm going to do. And this is where I think this part is where I'm going to be, is the reason why I'm bringing this as a soapbox and not just a Shade Speaks. Because this is something for me personally that irked me. Now, I want to make this clear right now. What I'm about to tell you, what I'm about to explain, is not the fault of the convention center. It is not actually, they had little to do. It is not the fault of Metrocon. It is not the fault of any of the staff at Metrocon. It is not even the fault of the voice actor guests, because that is what this is concerning. No. As you will soon see, there is a very specific group of people I will be targeting for this particular rant, but I need to explain this because this is something that has affected what I do at Metrocon on a very big level. So allow me to explain. On day one, I had been approached by the guest relations director The guest relations directors, Morgan and Mary. Now, I have worked with these girls for years. They are amazing. They have gone bent over backwards for me. So I know that what has happened here is not their fault. And I will not blame them at all for this. Because this is, but I was told that at this point, the odds of me getting interviews with the voice actor guests in particular might be a dead dream. And here's why. According to Morgan, the agents of the voice actors are on uber lockdown from here on out. Now, I know what a lot of you are assuming with this, as you know what I've been a part of and what I've been discussing in previous videos and streams. And that is a small part of it. There's no way it couldn't be, but it's only a small part of it. The bigger issue that they explained to me is that the people on the internet in general, doesn't matter who the voice actor is, doesn't matter what dealings are, people on the internet have been taking interviews and clips of interviews and panels at conventions, taking them out of context and using them to insult and harass these voice actors. That's a general thing. This is not a specific issue. This is in general. And as such, the agents and the voice actors are on lockdown. Basically, unless you are a major news organization, like a local television news station or a major publication, you're probably not getting an interview with these guys. AKA me. Someone like me probably has a Ice Cube's chance in hell of getting an interview. Yeah. Now, again, bio. Also, I just realized the chat's not even up. I don't know why that is. Let me fix that real quick. There. Now, bio, like I said, I know what you're referring to. That is only a small part of it. That is not the full scope of this. It's part of it, but it's not the full deal. It's just in general, people are doing this because people on the internet are assholes. That's just how it goes. So yeah, this means that aside from maybe small-time voice actors or YouTubers or any other minor guests that they invite, I'm probably not going to be ever doing interviews again. When it comes to the actual voice actors, the big voice actors, I'm probably never going to be getting another one of those again. Through no fault of the convention, the voice actors, even the agents, I'm not even blaming the agents for this because I understand where they're coming from. Their job is to protect their clients and to make sure they get the jobs that they deserve. So I don't even blame the agents for this. I understand their position here. I blame the assholes on the internet that made this happen, that did this, that have scared these VAs so bad that they now have to deny someone like me an interview through no fault of my own. So yeah, to those assholes that do this, that take these clips out of context to harass and insult, fuck you. Flat out, fuck you. Because you ruined one of the things I love about coming to Metrocon is meeting these amazing voice actors. Now, I can still go to their autograph lines and say hi, but I loved going to these conventions and just sitting down with these VAs and getting to pick their brains a little bit. I loved getting to know them. Sometimes even on a personal level. But now I can't do that anymore. I'm not allowed to do that anymore. And it's through no fault of my own. It's no fault of the cons, the VAs, the agents. It's through assholes on the internet that don't even go to this convention. Because of them, I got fucked. So yeah, that did kind of put a damper on my weekend. But there is a silver lining. Because I did at least get one interview. I did at least walk away with one interview. I was able to secure one interview, and technically it was with a voice actor. All right? That's the thing. I didn't walk away empty-handed this year. I got one interview with somebody. Some of you already know who it is, but for those who don't, you will see soon enough. And I'm very happy with it. It turned out good. The guest I spoke with was fun. It was a great interview. And it will be going up soon. So I'm happy with that. Now that we've got all of the bullshit out of the way. Yeah, exactly, Kira. I at least got something out of it. But now that we got all the bullshit out of the way, let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the fun shit. That's what you guys are here for, right? So, first of all, before we get to the big stuff like the events, because you know I got to that, talk about the cosplay this year. Holy shit! The cosplay was phenomenal this year. Like, you know, when I go to Metrocon, I always see like a couple of cosplays that feel half-assedly thrown together. But no, but this year, nothing. No bad cosplays whatsoever. Every cosplay I saw was amazing, and some of them were like, you know, basic and simple, but they definitely felt like there was effort put into them. But then there were some that were just gorgeous. And Lady K has plenty of pictures, and she might post those up on the Discord server. We might put together an imager album so that you can just throw them all at once. And yes, as Brother Ball points out in the chat, there was this really cute one of a Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle. Okay, Twitch, why did that message from Biohybrid get modded? You know what? Like, seriously, like, yeah, holy crap. DL, I have not heard from Mana. I know what you're speaking. Yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. But I don't know if I've heard anything news on that one. I'll have to check with her. I know I can find her on the Facebook group. But, yeah, but for those, Lady K got this beautiful picture of Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle and a little baby that they had dressed up to look like, be basically a baby Calcifer. Looks really adorable. Again, we'll probably have some pictures posted up on an Imager folder or something like that in the near future so you can see, because she got a lot of cosplay pics this year. As did Mildred the Monk, who was with us this weekend. And Mildred, once again, fun having him along. We had a lot of fun this weekend. It was a blast having him along, and he has pretty much said he's making this a yearly thing now. He to give you an idea of how much fun this year was, he is now making this a yearly tradition along with us. He's coming back next year. So if you guys want another reason to come to Metrocon, you can not only just meet me and Lady K, but you can meet Mildred the Monk. So please come on down. We have a lot of fun. You guys can talk your heads off all day long. And yeah, it was a blast. And speaking of the Monk, actually, he did a little cosplay of his own. Because on Thursday, I believe it was, he decided to dress up as a certain character. And I think a lot of you guys would appreciate this if you haven't seen already. But simply put, Sa Omae Sumio Kazaro. So Kichi Narumi. And he looked awesome in it. The only thing he was missing, he was unable to bring his Lost Driver, but outside of that, he had the full outfit. It was a black attire. It wasn't the white suit that he wanted. He tried to do a white suit, but the tailor that he got to help him with it couldn't do it. Like, he just couldn't make it happen. No Skull Magnum. No Skull Magnum on this one either, unfortunately. But he still looked awesome. One way or the other, he still looked awesome. Though it was funny, because he didn't have the Lost Driver, the Skull Magnum, a lot of people kept confusing what he was supposed to be dressed up as. There was a lot of people making guesses on it, and nobody figured it out. It was just funny. And so cosplay was phenomenal this year. And if you keep your eye on the Facebook page, you'll see at least a taste of it, because two of the videographers, the actual videographers, Keon and Alan, had been getting video of the convention this weekend, and did put together an end video for, these guys make me look like an amateur by comparison, because they were able to make this amazing video for the end of the con using footage they had collected throughout the weekend. Like, this wasn't from last year. This was all this year's footage. And they had edited it, rendered it, and prepped it by closing ceremonies. 2 of them, in fact, because they did one specifically for the mascots, too. And the mascots were a trip and a half. Actually, crap, I don't know where my bag is, because I have my con guide. I don't remember where we put the con guide. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to try to see if I can find something real quick. Actually, do I have my BRB thing up? Yeah, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to see if I can find that con guide. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, folks. So yeah, I had to grab the con guide. This a little bit condensed from years past, because they actually, like, the schedules and stuff are actually in an app for your phone. So they don't really have as much on there, but because of that, they have a very nice, crisp, organized setup. It's going to be a little cut off because of the green screen, but you can see here we have a lot of our cosplay guests set up. Looks really nice. Yeah, the Gather app. Let me see if I can find a picture of the mascots for this year. I think they're over here. Is it on this side? No, it's over this way. Gotta dig through all this. Ah, here we go. So the theme this year, as you saw on the front cover, no, Hairball Scott was not there this year, but we'll get to the guests soon. So the theme of this year, of course, Virtue versus Vice. And you can see an image of the 4 mascots there, but let's get a closer look at these wonderful people right there. Again, green screen kind of cutting off, especially the one guy there on the left. So starting things off from the left, we have a Kemi, who was a trip and a half. Very trippy guy. Very, kind of reminds me of the White Rabbit kind of deal. More. How do I put that? Because he was a bit of a troll throughout the weekend. He was kind of the trollish character, and he serves the Queen Cece there in blue. Very prim and proper, very cute and stuff like that. And they serve the Virtue side. Yeah, very flamboyant. That's a very good way to describe it there, Bio. Very flamboyant. So there was very cool on their side. But honestly, to me, the real winners in the mascot party were Team Vice. Starting off there, we have Mimi, who was a bit self-centered, but very energetic. No, not Pegasus flamboyant. Not by a long shot. But Mimi was very energetic, very cute, very fun, very self-centered. Because, very much an attention seeker throughout the weekend, but very fun. And then we have Damien, or Demian, over here, the little raccoon thief there on the far right. And the guy who plays Damian was actually the Knight Valor from last year. And the guy playing Akemi was also one of the mascots from last year. So they actually did a video skit where those two reprised their old mascot characters as a tie-in to kind of talk about to bring in the new guys. Very cool. And if there's anyone that steals the show, it's Damian, because good God, the charisma of the mascot's actor Chris Dunlap is amazing. This guy is a trip. I mean, even out of costume, this guy is very charismatic, very fun to talk with. I even had breakfast with him this morning before we left, and he is a trip and a half. Like, it is fun as hell. So, yeah. And you can see the artwork down here as well. That's actually, this is actually done by a winner of an art contest, Polar Arts. But the main artwork that you see here in the front is actually done by the guest artist of the year, of a local artist known as No Flutter, who, if you've seen my past con ads, she's been a regular at Metrocon for the last few years, and she has been doing all the artwork for the con guides for years on end, for the last few years now. So it's been a lot of fun. Couple things I didn't get a chance to do at the con that it did exist. They have the Metrocon dungeon, which is basically like a LARPing dungeon with a full D&D setup. You can have different roles, different classes. You go through this maze. You fight off orcs and other things like that. And you can play it any way you want. I don't know if she actually was able to pull this up, but Lady Kate was trying to get footage of the dungeon run where they had the Brute Squad, the Metrocon security team, do a run with the mascots. So they had that going on. But I think she had trouble getting it the first time because it was too dark in there for her. But I think she was able to get another run done later on. So we'll have to see if that footage actually exists. There is also the Maid Cafe. They have the Cafe Kirahoshi Cafe Hirakoshi. It's a full-on maid cafe in Metrocon. Again, I don't really, it costs money to eat there, but I've heard it's really fun. And this is like their third year, I think they've been doing this. So that's been a lot of fun. Of course, they have the Metrocade. They have full-on gaming arcade with a ton of, and this year apparently they were stocked. They had a ton of arcade machines there, old and new. Very cool stuff. And of course, the Monk's home turf. Tabletop gaming, full-on tabletop gaming room. They've had that for years, and it's a massive room, plenty of tables. Like, if you're into tabletop stuff, you'll probably find a table there. So that's a lot of fun for everybody there. Now, a couple other things I didn't get a chance to do. The one big thing I've never actually done a full run of because I'm usually too tired by the end of it. You'd have to ask the monk. If he was on, I'd be more than happy to ask him, but I think he's still on his way back. And even if he is back, he's probably too tired to get on right now because we were all exhausted. But the big thing that a lot of us didn't, that I didn't get to do, but almost everyone else did, Metro Massive. That is the Metrocon rave party, probably one of the biggest convention rave parties in the United States, with DJs from all over the country and even across the world. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, actually, yeah, 10, maybe 11. 11 DJs from across the world, mostly in the United States, but even across the world, coming to Metrocon to hold a massive rave all weekend long for 3 days, a 3-day rave party. Not 3 days back and ongoing, but 3 nights of rave. And it's hosted by Rob Van West, formerly known as DJ Hellroy. Very cool dude, very awesome motherfucker. If you ever get to meet this guy, he is as chill as fuck. And his wife Zoe, is a vocalist, kind of a UK style vocalist, and she's a sweetheart. And again, yeah, and yeah, Bio points out there was an engagement. Someone popped the question at the rave. There is video proof of this. There's video proof that this happened. So that was very awesome. But the rave, very much a fun thing to do. If you like to get out and dance, go out there. You can dress in costume and dance. The mascots were there in unique rave style outfits. There's really cool stuff. So, I mean, even if you're not a big raver, this is something different. And of course, all the cosplay guests that we've got here going on. Tons of cosplayers that come in. They have their own panels. Some of them host some of the contests. And I actually did get to go to one of the contests. There's the AMV contest, which I couldn't go to because I had other events in the way, so I couldn't do that. Much as I really, really wanted to, I just couldn't do it. They've got a cosplay contest. They've got a photo caption contest. They've got a lip sync contest. But the one I did get to go to, and only because I was pretty much forced to go to, was Anime Idol, which is a full-on singing contest where you get where people will go up and sing anime songs. Some of them in cosplay, others not, but you can go up and you can sing anime songs. Now, the reason I was pretty much forced to go there was something that was because of someone DLBot mentioned, a girl named Mana. Before I get to her, I will say a lot of the other singers, it was kind of 50-50. Some of them sounded pretty good. Some of them sounded really good. And then there were a couple that I will full on admit sounded like nails on a chalkboard. So, sorry to those people. I won't name names, but there were a couple of them. Don't get your day job. But there were a lot of them that were really good. So, like, it was only like one or two that was like iffy. But then we get to Mana-chan, who was the main event. She was the final singer of the night because she had won the previous year. No, Hairball Lady K did not participate in this one. But Mana-chan comes up, and as she had promoted herself doing on the Facebook group, she decided to come up and sing something that wasn't an anime song. And for those who haven't heard this, I'm about to make you smile from ear to ear because Mana decided to sing a Toku song. More specifically, she sung Excite from Kamen Rider X-Aid. As soon as she said she was going to do that, I realized I had to go. Because I know you motherfuckers would have killed me if I didn't. And the next day, she had also dressed up as Poppy, which unfortunately I missed. I missed the chance to meet up with her on that. Because again, I've been busy, as I'll explain later. And unfortunately, she had an incident where apparently someone had stolen her prop Gashat. It wasn't an actual like DX Gashat, it was a prop Tokimeki Crisis Gashat because it's Poppy, and apparently it's gone. She has no idea where it was. Likely someone stole it, but it's gone. And unless there's been an update where she's found it, I'll have to ask. But that's kind of sad. But nonetheless, you know, there's pictures of her as Poppy holding the Gashat. It looks cute. You guys would like it. If I find that picture, I'll... actually, someone's already posted it in the Discord, and you guys have probably already seen it by now. So you can check that out in the Discord. But absolutely cute. So yeah, Anime Idol, very much a fun experience there. And we even had a couple of the mascots. Mimi and Damian actually got up and sung. Damian actually sung the theme from Yamato. He actually sung Uchu Senkan Yamato, and he actually sounded pretty damn good. And then him and Mimi teamed up to sing Cruel Angel's Thesis from Evangelion, which was also a pretty fun song. They did a pretty good job with that. So yeah, and I have footage of this. I have the video of this contest. So I might post something on it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I honestly am not sure what I'm going to do with this footage. We'll see. I'm going to do something with it, but I don't know what yet. Then we also have a couple of like performance guests. We have Nerds Know, Clockwork Carousel, Geekapella, and Noise Complaint. I really don't know what they do specifically, so I couldn't tell you much there. But, and also a regular guest at the con, fight choreographer Kyle Rowling. This guy right here. Kyle Rowling is a fight choreographer who lives out in Australia, but he is not a small-time guy. Simply put, he was the fight double for Christopher Lee in Star Wars Episodes 2 and 3. This guy was the stunt double for Count fucking Dooku. And he also was the motion capture model for General Grievous. And even portrayed one of the Jedi, Jaklad Danva, in the Battle of Geonosis. So yeah, and he's also worked on the film Wanted, was an action coordinator for films Gabriel and Domestic, appeared in the TV show Spartacus Blood and Sand, TV movie Invincible, and he's also was Eric Bana's personal weapons trainer for the movie Troy. So this guy is no small-time choreographer. This guy's the real deal. But him and Alex, the owner of Metrocon, are really good buddies, and they've been going out to a Combaticon in Las Vegas on a regular basis. And between the owner of Combaticon and Alex, they've been splitting Kyle's travel costs to get him to both places. So Kyle is basically a regular at this point, which is really cool. But let's get to the guests, shall we? Let's get to, now, since we're already kind of transitioning, let's talk about the special guests. Let's start from to say low end, we might be a bit misnomer, but we're going to start from compared to the voice actors, we're going to start on the lower end here and talk about the 2 YouTube guests that we had this year. Starting off, of course, for his 3rd appearance at Metrocon, Caleb Hiles, ladies and gentlemen, singer extraordinaire, cover artist of Disney and anime songs, very fun guy, and honestly, this is how badass I'm feeling right now, because Caleb Hiles, I kind of wish I had a second person here, because Lana, what? He remembers me!
Dad, someone knocked at the door.
Are you kidding me? Be right back. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Neighbor came over to drop off a package that had been delivered while we were gone. So, nothing bad. Don't worry, folks. Just twice now I've had to pause in the middle of the stream. Hate doing that to you guys. Anyway, so back on track, talking about Caleb Hiles. Yeah, Caleb remembers me. And if you think it's just, like maybe he just kind of remembered me, no. Here's the thing. The concert that they did this year, including another guest, which I'll get to in a moment, he's actually let me in himself far earlier than I would normally get in. Like, no joke. Caleb actually told me, he's like, dude, if you want to come in like half an hour early for the concert, I'll let you in. I got no problem with you. And sure enough, I wait upstairs at main events, because it took place in main events this time, not special events, so it's gonna be a bigger stage for them. But I'm waiting up there. He comes through and he's like, I'm gonna check, see if I can let you in early. And normally I would have someone from Brute Squad let me in, but there was nobody there for a while. So eventually, Caleb himself comes to the door and lets me in. I am not even kidding. Caleb himself asked me to come in because he wanted me to shoot the concert. And yes, he is gonna try to make arrangements to join me once again for the live stream. And when I talk about the event, you're gonna see one aspect of it that's gonna make this year's concert better than the last two combined. So yeah, very cool. Now, Caleb was not the only singer here this year, but for once it was not Jonathan Young. Jonathan Young did not come this year, unfortunately. He was probably busy with other stuff. Things like that happened. No biggie. Besides, in all honesty, we got something just as good in return. Because this year, at the last minute, one other guest was announced, and when I found out this person was coming, my eyes lit up like Christmas trees. Because the last minute, we were found out that Caleb Hiles would be joined on stage by Amelie. Good God, was I giddy as a schoolgirl when I heard about this one. Amelie coming to Metrocon. I had been asking for this ever since they started bringing Caleb and Jonathan over. I had been hoping beyond hope that Amelie would come and do a concert at Metrocon, and this year, it happened, baby. So, sure enough, I got to shoot Caleb Hiles and Amelie at main events. And I'm going to say this right now. I got a chance to talk with Amelie quite a few times throughout the weekend. Nothing like a big conversation, but I got to have a few chats with her. From a little interaction I had, though, she is a sweetheart. She is exactly what you would expect her to be. She is fun, she is chipper, she's happy, and she's very much fun to chat with. So, nothing bad to say about Amelie here. You know, if I wasn't already a fan, I sure as hell am now. Because, yeah, she was exactly what I was hoping it would be. And the concert was phenomenal. Again, it wasn't as interactive as previous years. It wasn't as, Caleb was still as funny as ever. But because Caleb and Amelie don't work together as often, there wasn't that chemistry. So it wasn't as funny, per se. It wasn't as jokey as previous years. Caleb pretty much carried the brunt of that. Amelie was just there to sing. But they did have their fun, and they did do a duet together. They did do an end cap, and they did finish the night off with a duet that they had pretty much come up with on the fly. And I actually got to hear them and try to rehearse this during their sound check. And if you had heard the sound check and then heard the actual performance, you would not know how little they had practiced this. Because during the sound check, they had no idea what they were doing. Because, again, they literally came up with this last second. But when they got to the actual concert, they hit it perfectly. It was as good as it could be. It was right on the money. So that just shows you the talent of these two, that they were able to catch up on that really quickly and make it work. So very fun concert, very awesome to see and stuff like that. But we have other guests to talk about, and I get to show off what I got this year. The voice actor guests, complete with autographs. Now, as I said, I didn't get a chance to talk to the voice actors much. I only got to have some brief interactions with them during the autograph sessions, which has to be kept very short. But I did get a chance to talk with several of the guests. Now, the two I didn't get a chance, the one person I didn't get a chance to talk to at all was Lucy Christian. Lucy Christian, probably most of you know her as the voice of Uraraka from My Hero Academia. In fact, most of the guests are from Hiroaka, but they have done other stuff. But Lucy Christian is the voice of Uraraka from Hiroaka, Nami in One Piece, Honey in Ouran High School Host Club, and a couple of other things here as well. So Lucy Christian, but from what I could see, she was as sweet as everybody else. She seems to be having as much fun as anybody else. So honestly, I haven't heard anything to dissuade my thinking that she's just as cool. So, and I tweeted out to her, Lucy, I wish I could have met you, but maybe I'll catch you next time. But the other guest that I didn't get a chance to actually really interact with much, I didn't even get an autograph for, but I did get a chance to talk to her because I caught her as she was setting up for the autograph session I went to, was Kara Edwards. Someone we've already interviewed in the past, Kara Edwards. Most of you probably know her as Goten and Videl from Dragon Ball Z. And she's also done stuff like she's Bubble Girl in Hiroaka. And a couple of other things like that. So Kara Edwards is as much of a sweetheart as she's always been. Very nice to see her again. And just having a good time as always. Now we get to the ones that I actually did get a chance to talk with. We'll start from the back of the list here. Josh Grell. Again, the Hero connection here. He is Tsukiyomi. Dark Shadow. Yeah, very cool stuff. And I know, since I know who some of you guys are into this stuff, he is also the current voice of Issei Hyudo from High School DxD, replacing Scott Freeman after, well, if you say my reviews, you know what. But Josh Grell, very cool dude. Got a chance to talk with him. And also, I should mention, he is also the voice of Tanakichi Okuma from Shimoneta, which I actually brought to his attention when I was talking with him. And very cool guy. Very fun dude. In fact, yeah, that's a cat face. Because if you look at his autograph, do a little cat face on it. But the way that shit, that could be taken very wrongly. But no, still, Josh, very fun dude. Very chill. Very cool. Next up, we have Alexis Tipton, who is the voice of Mei Hatsume, the gear maker from Hiroaka, and along with a couple other things. Not much big stuff. She's Kid Drunks in Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Super, I should say, and a couple other things. So she hasn't done like super big stuff, but she's done quite a few good things. And again, sweetheart. What was sad though, like everyone else in the line, in the autograph line, like almost all the other queues were filled. And in fact, the person I was gonna go to next had a full line. I couldn't even get into that line. So I ended up going on to Alexis's because at that moment, hers was empty. And so I went up to her, and she was a darling. She was an absolute darling. I love talking with her for that brief period of time. So I didn't get much to say to her since I really didn't know enough of her stuff to really comment on anything, but it was still good nonetheless. Got two left here. Next up, David Matranga, who most of you probably know as the voice of Todoroki, Fire and Ice. And actually, funny story on this one, Mildra actually talked with him, and because he was the voice of the character Orphan in the anime of the same name. And it turns out that David Matranga is really loved playing Orphan, because he actually hinted at this. Apparently, there is apparently talks of a 25th anniversary remake of Orphan. It's nothing's official yet. There's just talks. But David is trying to find out if this gets made, who's going to license it. Because as soon as he finds out, he is going to get on them to bring him back as the voice of Orphan. And in all honesty, considering how good he does as Todoroki and how hot he is right now, I don't think anyone's going to turn him down. Like it's a 1-2 punch of the original voice, who's now very popular, win. So, very cool. Really, guys? Really? Really? Anyway. But then we get to the one that I'm sure a lot of you guys want to hear about. The one that I was personally very much looking forward to meeting. Monica Rial. Finally got the chance to meet the lady herself. The voice of many roles that many of you are familiar with. She is the current voice of Bulma in Dragon Ball Super. She's the voice of Stocking in Panty and Stocking. She's voice Froppy in Hiroaka, amongst many other roles. Hell, going back to Shimoneta, we had Tanakichi. We now have Anna. And yes, I did tell her about that, and she got a laugh out of that one. And yes. So yeah, and of course, there's her autograph right there. Now, I'm not going to say much here about this particular thing. Well, you know what? It's my channel. This isn't the RBT thing. I can say whatever the fuck I want. word of warning. I'm going to make a brief talk about a certain controversy that I'm sure a lot of you guys don't want to hear about, but I will keep this brief. Actually, hold that thought. I don't need to say anything. I shouldn't say anything because that might cause some trouble. So, but let's just say there was a lot of reasons that Monica was actually happy to see us. And I won't say much here, but maybe I'll bring up something in another in a voice call later on, if not tonight, then maybe tomorrow. But I will have some stories to share on that regard. But not just because of some of you guys not wanting to hear about it, because really I shouldn't say much publicly. I'm going to keep quiet about that. But let's just say there's a story to go with that one. But that being said, all of the guests, fucking amazing. Like, Metrocon knows the good guests. They go out of their way for the good guests. And these guys had a lot of fun. In fact, when I was waiting in line to get David's autograph, of course, Josh is literally right there next to him. They were zinging each other back and forth, having some fun. It was a blast. Like, honestly, these guys really had fun with each other and had fun with us. So, voice actors this year, nothing bad to say about any of them. All right. But now, I think we've covered everything else. I didn't even go into the dealer's room at all this year. At all. Except for the autographs. That was the only time I ever went. I didn't look around the dealer's room at all. Because I didn't want to tease myself. Though, I heard there was a good amount of Toku toys this year. Which I'm sure a lot of you were happy to hear. But there were some Toku toys on sale this year. Rick got a few. TJ, who's there, got a few. Got a few things. So yeah. Very cool stuff. Now let me make sure I've covered all of my bases before I get to the main event. Because that's the part I'm sure a lot of you want to hear about the most, aside from the guests. Yeah, that pretty much covers all of the main stuff there. So, let's talk about the events, the stage shows, the thing that makes this my go-to convention every single year. I'm going to get a drink here. My throat's getting a little dry. There we go. But yeah, the stage shows this year were amazing. As they are every year. They get better every year. And just, my God, these guys killed it this year. So, we're going to start things off with the simplest, which is the Metro Fire Show. You know? Oh, and actually, a couple things I need to mention before I get into this, because I actually had a couple of personal achievements this year. First of all, as a lot of you might know, this year I got a brand new camera. Brand new 4K camera. Now, I couldn't record in 4K this year because my memory cards wouldn't work with that. But I can honestly say, I will say this, it's still a massive step up from the camera I've been using over the last few years. So, rest assured, it is an upgrade. So I had this nice looking camera, and I've already looked over the footage too. It looks phenomenal. It looks so good. And it gets even better. Not only did I have a shotgun mic for this camera, meaning the audio that was being received on that was good, but this particular setup has 2 XLR audio ports. Now, I'm sure a lot of you don't know what that means, so let me get something real quick. And this time I won't pause. I'll be right back in literally in just a second. I know exactly where I'm going to get this. There we go. First of all, I had to carry this big son of a bitch around all weekend long. Oh, Riley, would you cut it out? So first of all, let me show you the camera itself. This is just the camera. Check this son of a bitch out. Look at this. JVC AVC HD progressive camera. This thing's a beaut. And look at this thing. Love this beautiful thing. This, I had to carry this around all weekend long. 2 memory card slots in there. But, and of course with it, shotgun mic. Very useful, especially for the interview I got. Very cool stuff. But to hook it up, I had to use this. This little handle goes on top of thank you, Riley. But this thing goes right up here and allows me to carry the camera if I need to. But more importantly, shotgun mic goes here, and you can see these XLR ports. So let me lock this down real quick. I'm going to show you what it looks like in full once everything's hooked in. Because this thing is a beast. You know, you remember I used to have that rinky-dink little handy cam for years. And I hated it because the quality was shit. The audio was shit. It had been scratched. The lens had been scratched. Wrong XLR, Riley, come on. But yeah, basically, once it's all done, it looks kind of like this. Pop that on a tripod, you got nice audio coming here, but you can see there's a second XLR port. What in the world could I use that for? Well, as you might have guessed, I actually got some help this year. First of all, in terms of just the camera itself, I want to give a shout out to Seth, the director of the chess match, Seth Wirtz, for helping me learn how to use this thing, because there were a lot of settings on this camera. There are a lot of settings on this camera. All these switches and toggles and buttons that I had to learn how to use. First couple of shows, quality may not have been as good, but muffin button? I'm sure there's something. I'm sure there's a setting in here somewhere. But obviously, if you don't know what you're doing, this thing looks confusing as hell. But Seth, being a fellow techie himself, helped me learn what these settings do and how to really maximize the potential of this thing. So you're going to see a massive improvement there. But as for that second XLR port, this is where the audio tech crew, more specifically Lex, Fish, and Cameron Zvedlanka, became my saviors. Because there has been one thing I've always wanted to do, always wanted to have, but never could, and that was direct audio. You know, I've always had to rely on the speakers that that their audio comes out of to capture any of the audio from the show. Not this year. This year, thanks to Lex and Cam going out of their way, they hooked me up to their soundboard through that port. Meaning I have a direct audio feed from their soundboard. All of their sound effects, all of their music, all of their mics fed directly into that port. So the raw footage has crystal clear audio from the shows. Yeah! Yeah! That was insane. The only show I do not have direct audio for is the Fire Show, because that is a very different setup, and the tech booth that they set up out there is too far away for us to be able to hook that up, because we're literally right in the middle of the crowd. To try to feed an audio line through that would be insane. Even the official videographer doesn't get an audio line. So to try to get one for me would have been just a no. So that is the only show that will not have a direct audio line. But all the other shows that I'll be talking about here tonight, including Anime Idol and the concert, have direct audio lines. They are going to sound insane. With that, let's get to the shows themselves. Starting us off, as I said, the Fire Show. And the theme of the year? The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, and oh my god, it was beautiful. However, it was not without its problems this year, and not through any fault of the cast or the staff. First night, beautiful. Probably going to be the video I use. Probably the video I'm going to release is going to be mostly from night 1, because that went almost perfect. Some of the, and so that is probably going to be the majority of my footage is coming from night 1. Because, and yes, I said mostly from night 1 because that was the other achievement I managed to accomplish this year. I didn't just get every show. No. I got every run of every show. All 3 runs of Fire Show. Both chess matches. Both. All 3 Metro Night Lives. All 2. Both. Rhyme Nor Reasons, as well as The Masquerade. I got everything. And even the like official camera crew, including my buddy Keon and my buddies Keon and Alan, when we were talking at Dead Dog, they actually said, dude, you are freaking boss for pulling that off. They actually praised me straight up for pulling that off. Because even they don't do that much. They get the majority of the shows, but they don't get everything. They didn't do Rhyme Nor Reason because that was a different group. And I'll get to that in a little bit. And there was a couple of things that they didn't do as well. But and they traded off. Like, Keon and Alan did Metro Night Live because that was their show, and the other camera guy, I can never remember his name, he did most of the other stuff outside of that. But I did all of it. And Bio, the only reason that's not going to happen is because if you see what the other guys packing for camera equipment and what Keon and Alan are using, I look like a chump. I mean, even that is still low end compared to what they're using. The official camera guy, his main camera equipment, he told me this, cost him around $9,000. $1,500 for mine, $9,000 for his. Who do you think's got the better quality video files? I appreciate the idea, but yeah, I've accepted that that's not going to happen for a long time. So I'm just happy that they work with me. Like, the Keon and the others, they made sure that they got top billing in terms of where where the locations, what angles they got. Like, they got center angles for the wide shots, so I had to always be a little off center. But the fact that they even let me up there at all, I'm cool with that. So, and yeah, you're right, Riley. But that's why there's like 3 of them and 1 of me. So maybe. We'll see. It depends on how this year goes. And, of course, I'm going to be getting a new tripod next year. Because that was one of the problems I had. Is that my tripod, it was not designed for a video camera like that. It can't handle the weight. So a lot of my footage is crooked. I will try to fix that in post. But that being said, everything else, getting back on track here. So Fire Show was phenomenal. But night 2, they ran into some trouble. Because it started raining right before the show. And, of course, Fire Show in the rain equals no good. Not only is it, having fire in the rain not going to work out, but of course, again, they have a tech crew, they have audio equipment that goes outside in the rain. That's a disaster waiting to happen. So we actually had to move further into the River Rock outside where they have an awning that extends further out. That, in and of itself, wouldn't have been as big a deal, except the floor in that area is clearly not designed to handle a fire show because the oil that they were using to light their flame sticks was dripping all over the place. And that floor was apparently not treated well enough to handle it because the floor got a little slick. As one of the actors, Sarah Solis, a good friend of mine, put it on Facebook, Night 2 became Fire Show on ice. As they were slipping and sliding all over the place, it looked pretty bad. So that one, you're probably not going to be seeing much footage for that show of Night 2. Like, honestly, I'm not going to embarrass the cast like that, especially when it's not their fault. So, but there was some pretty bad stuff that happened on that one. Night 3 was a little bit better. A little bit. Still had some issues. Might use a little bit of footage from that depending, but Night 1 is probably where the majority of my footage is going to be coming from for the video. So, sorry, I'm blanking here for a minute. I am a little tired, and don't worry, I will be getting some sleep before too long tonight. But, exactly, Bio. Intriguing concept. Deadly in practice. But aside from that, though, the show was phenomenal. The fireballs that they were spitting out were just glorious. One guy just had this massive fireball that you're gonna see during the videos. And if we do use any footage of Night 3, it's gonna be from Lady K, who has her camera, which does shoot 4K, and she actually got a low angle shot. She was dead center on Night 3 and had a low angle shot because she had it in her lap and pointed it underneath the ropes. So I might get some footage of Night 3 in there and get a low angle shot to kind of add to the fun of it. So we'll see. We will see what we do with that. Anyway, next up we have a brand new show that has come to Metrocon, courtesy of a third-party group. It's called Rhyme Nor Reason. They've been doing stuff at other cons for a while now, but this was their first time at Metrocon. And first of all, because it wasn't a Metrocon-owned event, none of the other camera guys were there. I was the only one recording Rhyme Nor Reason. And that helped me get in pretty good with the directors of that event because they didn't have anyone filming it. They couldn't even really do a good job filming it themselves. They only had this rinky-dink little still cam to record the whole thing. So when they found out I was coming in to film this thing, they were smiling at me. They were actually like really happy to hear that I was recording Rhyme Nor Reason. So I'm going to be talking with them. I've already got the email of their tech director, their personal tech director, who and I'll be getting in touch with him to get the footage I need, and we'll talk with them about setting things up that way. But nonetheless, very fun show. The theme for Rhyme Nor Reason was the Dreamers. It's all about dreams, being in a dream. I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil nothing, but there are a couple of characters that made me really intrigued to watch this particular show. And if you don't already know, I'm not going to say what it is, but let's just say it's something in my personal wheelhouse. And said characters pretty much stole the show, as you would expect if you know who they are. So be on the lookout for that. But it was just amazing. And again, direct audio feed. It's going to sound phenomenal. I've actually already been listening to some of the raw footage from my second night recording, and it sounds beautiful. Like, you guys have no idea what you're in for when you see this when you see these videos. It is going to be some of the best videos I've ever fucking done. But Rhyme Nor Reason, very much a fun series. Be on the lookout for that. I think you guys are going to get a laugh out of it. It was very enjoyable. It's got a little bit of dance, a little bit of fighting, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of everything. It's a very much a melting pot of everything Metrocon has done, because this is something that doesn't normally go on in Metrocon, so they didn't have that kind of that separation to do. But this is kind of like a mishmash of everything. But I think it was handled very well. It was very fun. The cast did a very good job, and some of the Metrocon regulars were cast in this one, so expect some familiar faces and some fun times. Next up, we've got Metro Night Live. Now, I'm not going to do the normal Metro Night Live voice that I normally do because, well, they didn't use it either. They actually used a brand new intro for this one. In fact, a lot of things changed from this one, including changes in between shows. If you missed even one run of Metro Night Live, you missed out on skits. Because they changed out skits and videos between shows. A skit that was appearing on night 1 was changed out for another skit on night 2, changed out for another skit on night 3, including their opening. Their cold open skit was changed all 3 nights. You can imagine how much fun that's going to be for me to edit. Because I'm going to have to edit all 3 of those. I'm going to have to edit all 3 of those videos, all 3 of those recordings into one video. But rest assured, I already have ideas. Bio, you have no idea how accurate you are with that. You really don't. You have no idea. That being said, these skits were hilarious as hell. And I guarantee you there is one skit featuring our very own Spade Ace, as a matter of fact, that you're going to be laughing your ass off on. There is one skit that stole the damn show, and mainly because of Ace. Oh God, it was hilarious. And he didn't even want to believe that his skit stole the show. But I'm telling him, it did. It stole the show. But there were quite a few other really good ones in there. And the ending was just insane. I might use the day 3 ending for that just because of how ridiculous and stupid it got by the end. But still, Metro Night Live, as funny as ever. Keon and Culver, the directors, really cool dudes. We'll do something there. And speaking of the shows, I actually just got a message on my Facebook from a cast member. I can't say much details of what that's about, but yeah, I'll have to answer that here in a little bit. See, this is how well they know me. They're asking me stuff about the shows. That is freaking insane. Wow, never expected that. Live streaming is awesome. Anyway. Huh. Yeah, I'm that guy now. Like I said, the cast loved me. The cast and staff loved me. How many cons would even allow me to even do this stuff, much less be cool would love me for that? Let me just answer this real quick. Anyway, so that out of the way. Yeah, but Metro Night Live is very much fun, very cool. Like, again, wait till you guys see that video. You'll be laughing your asses off, and it's probably gonna be the longest video of all of them because of how many extra skits I have. How many different skits I'm gonna have to integrate into one video. Next up, we have the Masquerade. Of course, while the show itself at the con is like 3 hours long, the video will probably be less than half that because I'm going to be cutting out a lot of the dance segments since you guys really can't see much of that. But the Masquerade, for those who have never heard of the Masquerade, it is a combination of a stage show with a ballroom dance. In fact, for years they used to have it so you had to be in full dress and wear a mask in order to even go. They've kind of laxed on that over the years, but the main feeling still applies. And this year the theme was graduation. It was a high school graduation party where things go horribly wrong, and there's a whole adventure on that. And it was a fun experience. And yeah, there's a lot of heart to this one. This is the one where you tend to find a lot more romantic elements. Like there's like a more dramatic story, a lot less, there's comedy, but a lot less of it. And and a lot more just full on like storytelling drama. So it's an interesting show, and I think you guys will like how that one turns out. But just so much. I'm like, I gotta slow myself down because I've got so much to talk about here. But yeah, so let's see. Make sure I'm not missing anything here. Let me check my thing. Let's see. Yeah, I think I've covered everything else. So now, when I said, now we get to the big one. The king of the crop, the show that everyone knows Metrocon for, the anime human combat chess match. Now, when I said that Metro Night Live was going to be the longest video of all of them, that includes the chess match. Because that is the first thing you will immediately realize about the chess match this year. It was cut short. It was shortened in severely. What used to be as long as 3 hours was now cut down to just over 1. Literally, the chess match has gone down to literally over an hour, but not for bad reasons. Because here's the thing. Remember how I said that Nick Fazio is no longer part of Metrocon? That also means he stepped down as director of the chess match. And his former assistant, Seth Wirtz, has now taken over as director. And Seth has decided to make some changes to the chess match. And I'm going to be straight honest with you. I think it's for the best. I think it worked to its benefit, the changes he made. And the biggest of which is that he cut out a lot of the fluff and filler of the chess match. Because while the length of the chess match has gotten short, the amount of content in it has not been reduced. It does not feel rushed at all. It feels like a full and complete story. It feels like it hit every note beat for beat in terms of the story they were trying to tell. But they don't waste time calling moves. They're calling moves as they're talking. Just as they're finishing up a sentence. King Rook to King Rook 3. Like, just go. They just immediately, as soon as they finish it, I will defeat you once and for all. King Rook to King Rook 3. Like, that's literally how fast they were going at times. And they were getting straight to the fights. Like, you rarely ever spent more than a minute or two between fights. They were quick and just go. The fights were not very long. They didn't drag out the fights, but they went long enough for you to feel the impact and get to the moments that you want to see in a fight like that. Very good stuff. And the cast was on point as always. Great cast. Very cool stuff. Oh, God, my throat. Jesus. I think from all the talking I had to do last night, my throat's still a little dry. Anyway. So, yeah. Chess match. Again, it didn't feel shorter. It was shorter, but it didn't feel shorter. And, of course, the theme, Virtue versus Voice, comes into play here. And just, holy crap. Like, the thing is, I don't want to say what happened in the chess match, but there's so much good shit I want to talk about. But when you guys see the videos for these, you're gonna love them. Honestly, Bio, I'm not sure. This didn't feel like there was a story arc being built. I will agree. I will say, I don't know if the ongoing storyline thing's going to be happening anymore. They could do something next year to kind of tie it into this year, but I don't see where, and I don't see how. This could be the end of the ongoing story arcs, which, I'll be honest with you, I don't really have a complaint about that, because here's the thing. Having the ongoing story arcs, even if every show is independent, it kind of gives you that feeling that you have to go every year to know what's going to happen next, to kind of it leaves that dangling thread that kind of irks you to want to go back and watch the next one to see how things turn out. But not everyone can go every year. Not everyone can see every chess match. To kind of pull that on somebody can kind of irk some people. So if we don't get year-long, like 5-year story arcs anymore, I'm not really going to be that upset about it. I think for the best. I think it gave the show some gravitas, yes, but in all honesty, they can make a single show have that kind of weight to it. And this year they did. This year they kept it pretty simple with the story. You know, good versus evil. You know, the main villain for this chess match was All for One. You can imagine how that turned out if you've been watching Hiroaka. They can make a singular story feel epic. And they may bring back story arcs. I don't know. I haven't really confirmed with Seth on that. I might ask him about that if we can get him on board for the chess match stream. But as of right now, I don't think it's that big of a loss. Because really, the individual shows should speak for themselves and not as part of the bigger storyline. So we'll have to see. But that being said, the chess match was amazing this year. And the special effects that they've used have gotten better and better. Everything's nice and well timed. Lex and his crew are freaking amazing with their thing, with their tech. They're able to time effects perfectly. Like as soon as someone's supposed to use an effect attack, as soon as they go to use it, it's right on cue. Like it feels natural the way they do it. It is amazing. And you'll see that in the final video too. Like I got really good shots of that. It's going to be good. And again, Lady K helped me out on that one. She actually sat on, each night she sat on one side of the stage and got side angle shots. Might be a little shaky, so I may not be able to use much of it, but we're going to see what we can get out of that. Because she doesn't have a tripod yet. We're probably going to be fixing that next year. But she got some good shots to go along with what I got. I think we're going to get some good fights out of that. So stay tuned for that on that front. But this, in all honesty, like wrapping things up here, that's pretty much everything for Metrocon this year. But this felt like a new Metrocon in many ways. And there was a lot of big changes on all the shows, new shows, old shows out, new shows in. Yeah, I missed the Star Party and RCC, but honestly, I think what they have is more than enough to carry Metrocon. And because there wasn't as many shows, I was able to get all of them. I didn't miss a single run of any show. My legs certainly hate me for it, because I was running around all over the place and then standing for hours on end trying to film this shit. But I accomplished a goal. And I had fun doing it. And in all honesty, I don't see myself ever stopping going to Metrocon until I'm far too old to be able to do it anymore. And I'm not there yet. I'm having way too much fun going to these conventions and hanging out with my friends. And these guys appreciate me as much as I appreciate them. You know, I had a lot of fun stories hanging out with the guys. You know, we had an incident where we were coming back to the hotel and we had a couple of the cast members with us and a couple of the staff with us, and we got to the elevator, and of course the cast of chess were getting in. They had to get to bed, so they actually have a curfew, and they were joking about that back and forth with one of the staff guys, and they were just going back and forth. It was hilarious. It even had Lady K snorting a few times on that one. So they're just so much fun. Like, you know, we go through, a lot of us in the con family, we go through a lot of drama and a lot of stress throughout the year. Like, I see them on Facebook all the time. They're just, a lot of them have a lot of bad days. Some of them have fun all the time, or at least hiding it by having a fun time on Facebook. But a lot of them, they are fully open about their stresses. When they get to the con, for those 4 days, they're all having the time of their lives. They're laughing, they're smiling, they're having a ball. and just letting go of all of their worries and just focusing on putting on a good show. And when they do that, the rest of us are along for the ride having just as much fun. And that's what happened here at Metrocon 2019. And despite the minor hiccups of the bag checks and everything like that, yeah, I've made new friends. We meet new people all the time at Metro. You're exactly right, Coops. We get to meet new people at Metrocon. And that's exactly what happened this year. We made new friends, we hung out with old ones, and there was no judgment. There was no shame. You know? We could dress up as the character we wanted to. We could dress up in any costume we wanted to. And nobody would judge us for it. And if they did, they were usually saying nothing but compliments. Your costume looks amazing. Thanks, yours too. We can find people with similar interests. We can talk. We get to, you know. There are people at this convention that are more of a family than people in my own family. Because they appreciate me for who I am and what I enjoy. These guys, you know, these cast members. Again, most other cons wouldn't even allow me to film if they had their own videographer. They were like, why should we let you do it? We've got our own guys. You're just gonna get in the way. These guys, they don't do that. They let me come in, shoot my stuff, even though I'm gonna be posting up videos of the same stuff they are. And in fact, Keon, Alan, and the other videographer, we were talking all weekend long. We were talking shop, you know. There were a couple of nights I'd be talking with the other camera guy and we're just sharing stories. Just having fun while we're setting up our cameras. Dude's very chill. And I loved it. Learned a lot from all of them. You know? It's that feeling of being welcomed and being appreciated for what I do. Even though I'm not popular, even though I've only got 700, I think, 500, 700 subscribers. The fact that they appreciate me coming here and they look forward to seeing me, you know? I go up to people and they're like, hey, and we're hugging, we're having fun. You know, they're happy to see me, they talk with me, we're sharing stories, having a laugh. I don't get that anywhere else. I mean, I get a little bit of that here, but to do it in person, I don't get that anywhere else. It's why I will come back to Metrocon every year until I can no longer be able to walk. Because they love me for who I am. And that, to me, is a feeling that everyone should experience. It's why, no matter what people say about me doing it, I will continue to promote this convention every chance I get. I will continue to support this convention every chance I get. Because this isn't just a convention to me. This is a community. And that was their goal from day one. I have always stressed that there are 3 types of conventions out there. 3. The first is industry cons. Your E3s, your San Diegos. The conventions where the big companies go to show off what they're coming up with. To shill their shit. To say, this is what we're doing in the future. That is an industry con. The second are guest cons. Where the whole point of going there is to meet special guests. Autographs, photos, things like that. Ranger Stop is a guest con. Because that is the majority of what you're doing there, is you are meeting the guests. And the third type is a community convention. Most community conventions are usually the small kind, you know, but they're the places where may not have many guests, if any at all, but there are a ton of fan-made panels, and It's just there for you to hang out, meet fellow-minded people, and have fun. You might have a couple of guests, maybe an industry a guest or two, but it's mainly about the community putting on a good show. Metrocon is the ultimate community convention. Because from day one, that was what they set out to do. They have guests, and they, and they have the autographs and the photos and everything like that, but they only ever invite like 5 or 6 guests a year. I mean, this year, you could fit all of the anime voice actors that came to Metrocon on a 2-page spread. This is all of the anime voice actors they got this year. 6. But the reason why Metrocon grows every single year is because they set out from the beginning to be a convention of fans. By fans, for fans. And in all honesty, from what I've seen, both in public, in the open and behind the scenes, they stick to that. And thus, they have succeeded in spades. Over 10,000 plus guest attendees every year right now for a 4-day convention. Not many cons can do that aren't an industry con or a guest con. This is a con that's competing with stuff like Dragon Con, Mega Con. And this is a community convention. That is nuts. Yeah. And again, that number went up this year. They're probably close to 12,000 by this point, if not more. They're growing every year. So, and I want you guys to help make that number even higher. So, I know for some of you it's difficult, monies are tight, but if you could ever come down to Florida during the summer, I implore you, come check out Metrocon, check out the shows live, because my videos, even as good as they're going to be this year, can only do them so much justice. This is the kind of thing you have to see live, in person, to really get the full experience of it. And again, if for nothing else, to meet the amazing people that come to this con, that work at this con, just everyone. You will walk away having met a new friend at Metrocon. I can promise you. Because that's how this con is. You walk out of this con making new friends. I guarantee it. Because every year, I walk away making a new friend. I meet someone there, and we chat. Never met him before in my life. And I walk away with a friend. You will do the same. And Akira, you pull that off, you come find me, you motherfucker. You know me. I'm not a hard guy to find. You find me, I would love to sit and just shoot the shit with you. Because I'm spending a lot of time just sitting there waiting for an event. And sometimes I've got like an hour to kill. If you find me during that time, I'd love to chat with you, brother. And that goes for any one of you guys. I've already got several of you guys coming down. Slick Rick, Solar Star, several of you coming down here. And I love you for it. You guys are the reason. You guys are actually part of the reason Metrocon keeps inviting me, because I have done my job to promote this con to where people have been coming because of me. Maybe not as much as others, but I have done that. And I'm going to continue to do that. So, please, come to Metrocon. Next year. It's going to be towards the end of July. next year. And actually, the new theme for next year, tentative title, but what they were going with was Man versus Machine. They are going Man versus Machine next year, so you can imagine it's going to be insane next year, what they're going to be pulling with that. In fact, I was already listening to some of the guys talking about ideas for how they're going to implement that theme next year. So, come check it out. You're going to love it. But I think that is about it for me tonight. There's really not much else I can say, and I need to switch this. There's really not much I can say here. Metrocon is one of my favorite conventions, and I want to share that with you guys. So, I'm not sure of how soon I'm going to pull this off. I say give it about 2 weeks, tops. But in about 2 weeks' time, on this channel, actually no, not on this channel, I'm going to be posting a link to the Metrocon Facebook group in the near future. Because that is where Metrocon Live is going to be. I tested this out last year after the chess match. And it was a success. So starting in 2 weeks, I'm going to be posting the live premieres of my Metrocon videos, Metrocon Live, directly to the Metrocon Facebook group. I want you guys to come and check it out. Meet some of the attendees there in the group. Say hi. It's a very open community. They allow you to share a lot of your stuff if it's related to what's going on, related to the con, or if it's related to anime or video games or whatever. You're allowed to share it there and interact. Just get to know people. You can make a friend there just on that Facebook group alone. But come check it out, and you'll enjoy the show. But anyway, that is indeed going to do it for me here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed this stream tonight and you haven't done so already, make sure you give me a follow so you can keep up with more stuff. And if you can, subscribe as well. Subscribe to my channel, get access to some exclusive emotes, which I still need to make some for this channel, I think. I need to figure out how I'm going to make that work. But exclusive emotes, access to our the VIP Discord channel, and things of that nature. But in the meantime, I want to thank you guys for joining me as always here as part of RVTV on the Shades, and we'll see you next time. Rock on! Special thanks to my patrons like Voice for their donations. Pledge today so you can keep these streams going.